Hello. So, I don't know if any of y'all watched my video from last night, week 10, but I had a lot of technical difficulties yesterday. So, this video is going to be called week 10.5. It's a little different. Um, Yesterday, just if you haven't watched it, I had some complications. I had my whole what I was going to say and like what I was going to do. And I kind of changed directions of what I was going to do, what I was originally going to talk about. So I changed directions, right? And did something else instead because I was trying to keep peace, trying to just like, keep peace. And anyway, so I did the video, right? And no, if you remember yesterday, but I had some technical difficulties with my microphone. And so I recorded the whole video of what I changed it up to and went to go um, put it in the YouTube. And when I did, it didn't have any sound to it. So I made like a 30-minute video with absolutely no sound. So what did I have to do? I had to do it again. But I did it like off the cuff kind of thing yesterday for week 10 and said what I said. But then the whole time, God was at me. You should have done your original video that you had planned for this week that you wrote out and stuff. So apparently, I didn't listen to what I was supposed to do, but because I was just trying to keep peace. So this video, this is just a little intro to it because I did it last night about 3 o'clock in the morning because I had to do what God told me to do. That's how funny God works. So I went ahead and did it, my original video, because like I said, I was just trying to keep peace yesterday. So I changed topic and stuff from what God had told me to talk about. And video got messed up. But then the topic became very, very real after the fact. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, this morning, I did the video that I was actually supposed to do. So take a listen. Thanks, guys. Here it is. I am exhausted. The overwhelming weight of my soul exhaustion. It has only been 430 days today. Yet it feels like a lifetime. That is something that is still so hard to make sense of to me. There are days where I don't feel like any of this has happened at all. And then reality snaps me and my attention and says, yeah, it's been 430 days. Trauma and truth echo the same devastation count. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, so I can't be very loud. But yeah, yet, in all of that, you're still expecting ordinary moments to line back up. Like someone can just shake you hard enough and say, wake up, you're just having a bad dream. It's all okay, Cody's fine. The moment It never comes. So instead, what comes is soul deep exhaustion, not the kind that sleep fixes or a vacation can cure. I mean the kind that reaches down into the deepest parts of your soul. That exhaustion. Since that day when I last hugged my son, Cody, I have been doing everything I can do to simply just exist in a world that was ripped out from beneath me without any kind of warning. I don't mean trying to function. I don't have problems functioning. I'm not a dependent person that puts trust in anyone else. I've never been. I've taught myself by my own wiring to be very independent, with my only support system is straight to God. I think that's one of my faults but strengths, because God is the only one I depend on. I know that a lot of my own personal survival story of what God has saved me from has built a foundation deep, deep down inside of me that when all hell breaks loose inside of me, instead, I lean toward the one who taught me to depend on Him, the one who pulled me and my kids out of hell. So I am trying to keep going on in a life I never would have chosen. I am trying to breathe through pain that does not feel real at all. I am trusting God by carrying something so heavy. There are days where it just sits all over every part of me. And on top of that, there is another layer that hits heavy for 430 days. The feeling I still have to keep explaining my exhaustion over and over to someone who filters everything through their own experience. That wears a person down. It turns us numb. After 430 days in the wreckage, that path is almost unbearable because you are already carrying devastating loss. You don't have extra strength just lying around. You don't have endless emotional energy. You don't have room for constant pressure, constant tension, constant conflict, constant misreading, constant pulling, constant justification of how you are built to survive this. You are already using everything, every resource, just to stay standing. And that also is where I have been for 430 days from the moment I lost my son. Trying to survive, not having every day nearness of Cody, trying to stay with God, trying to keep my heart from completely collapsing, at the same time feeling drained by having to explain why I am drained all over again and being really heard. And I don't mean just heard, I mean understood. That is its own kind of pain. It is exhausting when your hurt has to keep being translated. It is exhausting when your limits have to keep being defended. It is exhausting when your exhaustion is standing right there in plain sight. And somehow you still have to feel like you have to explain it, only to have it twisted to being just another excuse of why you're acting a certain way, when no one that is judging you are able to do everything you're doing without giving up. There is a separate, profound agony in having your deepest pain dismissed by others who have forgotten their own capacity for compassion. That, I'm tired of that. Tired of explaining why I don't have the energy for unnecessary pressure. Tired of explaining why this grief has already taken everything out of me. Tired of explaining why I don't have more room for emotional chaos on top of what I'm already carrying. Tired of trying to make my exhaustion make sense to someone who's completely committed to filtering everything back through themselves. After a while, you just go quiet. You get numb. Not because you no longer feel, not because you don't care, not because your heart has gotten hard, because you have reached a place where you cannot keep spending what little energy and strength you have left repeating the same pain to someone who is not receiving it. That is where a lot of my numbness has come from. Not numb to my son, not numb to losing him, not numb to the reality that my whole world has changed in a moment that I never saw coming, but numb to the draining, numb to the constant needing answers and decisions from me, numb to the emotional exhaustion of having to keep defending what I don't have no more to give, because I do not have any more to give to that. What I have, I am using to survive. What I have, I am using to get through the day. What I have, I'm using to stay close to God, to keep breathing through all this heartache that still reaches every part of my life. And that is what I wish some people would just understand. When someone loses a child suddenly, we're not just sad. We're not just having a hard season. Our entire inner world has been shattered. Our nervous systems is carrying shock. Our heart is carrying unbearable absence. Our body is carrying stress. Our minds are carrying what did not happen, what happened, what we wish we could change, what we cannot change, and how to keep living in a world that feels completely wrong, no matter what direction you're looking at it at. That alone is enough to exhaust a person. So when more and more and more get piled on top of that, when there is more pressure, more conflict, more emotional taking, more things turning around, it's not small. It lands on someone who is already trying everything just to make it to the next second of the minute. That has been one of the hardest parts for me. I'm already doing the hard thing. I'm already living through the impossible thing. I'm already waking up every day and facing the fact that my son is in heaven and I am here. I am already carrying grief into every normal looking thing I do. And on top of that, I am worn out from having to explain why I am worn out. That's a terrible place to be because grief already strips so much from you. It strips ease, it strips safety, it strips the feeling that life makes sense anymore. It strips your ability just to be able to move through the day in the world the way it used to. It changes how you think, how you feel, how you respond, how much you can hold, how much noise you can take, how much pressure you can absorb before something in you says, that's enough. That's enough. I can't take anymore. And I think that's where I am. Enough. Not in a loud way, not in a mean, hateful way, just in a very, very honest way. I don't have the capacity to keep explaining soul level exhaustion to someone who should already be seeing that I am surviving the worst pain of my whole entire life without you, alone, by myself, with God. That is the truth. And I don't say that to attack anybody. I say it because it's real. There comes a point where being misunderstood by everything becomes a burden on its own. There comes a point where the constant need to explain yourself becomes another weight. There comes a point where you realize you were spending so much more energy on trying to get someone else to understand your pain than you actually get to use it to tend to your own heart. That is not healthy for someone like me, someone who's lost a child. It's not sustainable. And when you are already shattered, it is so much. It is too much. So for me, this season has been a lot of learning where my little bit of strength has got to go. It has got to go to surviving. It has got to go to staying to God. It has got to go protecting what little bit of my heart is left. It's got to go towards carrying my grief honestly. It's got to go towards God and the things that He's put in front of me. It can't keep going to endless explanations with no understanding. Because endless explanations are expensive. They cost too much. They cost too much. And I don't have that kind of strength laying around anymore. That's been a hard thing to admit, but I don't. It costs too much. Because part of you keeps hoping that if you could just explain it one more way than the thousands of ways that you've explained it, one more time, maybe they'll just hear it. Maybe this time they'll understand. Maybe this time they'll stop making demands a part of you that's already holding on by a very worn out thread. When that keeps not happening, it changes something in you. You get quiet. You stop reaching as much. You stop trying to make yourself understandable to someone who keeps turning everything back to themselves. You start realizing that peace matters more than winning an explanation where you're never supposed to have to fight that hard for in the first place. That's where I am. I don't want to spend all of my energy explaining my pain. I want to spend what strength I have and bring what left of my pain to God. Because God does not make me prove I'm tired. God does not make me defend why I'm worn down. God does not make me translate why my devastating grief and constant pressure have left me exhausted. God already knows. He already knows what losing my son did to me. He already knows how close me and my son were. He already knows what it feels like for me to wake up inside of this reality. He already knows what I carried that I never say out loud. He knows the conflict cost me. He knows what the draining cost me. He knows what numbness is really covering. He knows how little of a margin I have left. Because He knows I don't have to perform for God. I can come to Him exhausted. I can come to Him broken. I can come to Him numb. I can come to Him angry, confused, drained, barely making it through the day. I can come to Him with words. I can come to Him without words. I can come to Him in a wreck, and He still knows. That has been one of the only things steady in all of this. God already knows the weight of what I am carrying, and He's not asking me to pretend this is lighter than what it is. He's not asking me to act fine. He's not asking me to act like more pressure is okay. He's not asking me to endlessly pour from places that are already empty. He pours into them. He is the one place where I don't have to explain my exhaustion for it to be real. And that's why I keep ending up back there, because I am tired of trying to prove pain that should already be so obvious. I am tired of defending limits and boundaries that make complete sense. I am tired of over explaining what devastation grief feels like, also living inside of it every day. So I bring it to God, the grief, the tension, the pressure, the numbness, the heartaches, the fears, the anger, the fatigue, the questions, the parts of me that have just gone so silent that is so much for me to carry. I bring all that to Him. And sometimes it's not inspiring looking, it's not loud, it's not big. Sometimes survival is just simply realizing where your strength has to stop being wasted. It has to stop being wasted on endless arguments that make no sense. It has to stop being wasted on trying to make the unwilling understand. It has to stop being wasted on defending why your soul is tired. Sometimes survival is just saying, I don't have it for that anymore. And I need to keep close to God to get through this day. It's not selfish. It's not wrong. It's born out of wisdom and pain. And maybe that's what this season is for me. Not a big speech, not a polished answer, just a very honest truth. I am exhausted. I am exhausted from losing my son. I am exhausted from carrying a life that does not feel right. I am exhausted from trying to keep going in a world that changed without warning. I am exhausted from trying to explain exhaustion to someone who doesn't want to hear and understand. That's real. And I'm done pretending that weight is not as heavy as it is. I am doing everything I can to make it through the day. Everything I can to trust God. Everything I can to stay above water. Everything I can to keep my heart from being swallowed by the grief and the pressure at the same time. That takes everything in me. So no, I don't have endless energy left for your conflict. No, I don't have endless room left for emotional taking. No, I don't have endless explanations left in me. What I have left, I need for surviving. What I have left, I need for healing. What I have left, I need it for staying to God. What I have left, I need it to protect the parts of my heart that are still trying to heal around a wound that will never stop being important to me. And that's the truth. And God sees all of it. He sees how hard I'm trying. He sees how worn down I am. He sees everything, the strain, everything. And I'm still here. Not because I'm strong enough on my own, because this is easy. Not because I have figured out how to carry it well every day, but because God keeps meeting me in the exhaustion. He keeps giving me enough for the next breath, the next step, the next day. Enough for me completely falling apart under the weight of all of it. And that's where I am. Just very aware that if God was not holding me together, I would not be standing. So that is my truth. I am tired. I am deeply, deeply tired. And I am done wasting my energy to explain what no one wants to hear. So if this has helped anyone, share, like, subscribe. Can't be the only one like this. But anyway, guys, I love you, Cody. Always. To the moon, trees, and the stars. It's around 3 a.m. So I think I'm going to go to bed. Night, guys. Thanks.